Good day traders, this is Stefanos on behalf of Tixee, and in today's webinar we'll be giving an outlook of the market for the week of the 24th until the 28th of October. Looking at some of the highlights for next week, in the stocks front, we're going to be having more than 4,000 stocks reporting their figures for the Q3 and Q4 earnings season. And meanwhile, on the Forex front, it's set to be yet another blockbuster week with three major interest rate decisions, one from Canada, one from the EU, and one from Japan as well. But first, the disclaimer. As always, please note that all of the ideas discussed in the webinar are my own opinions and do not make up for any form of investment advice, neither any recommendations to buy or sell. You should always do your own research and due diligence before buying or selling in securities, financial products, or instruments, and whether you use any kind of trading strategies. Any information that relates to past performance is not indicative of future results. So as we mentioned during the intro, there's more than 4,000 stocks reporting their figures for the Q3 earnings season. We're going to have 18 of them, which are all listed on Tixee's platform, so it means that they're available for trading as well. I'll go over the list real quick. Even though it's 18, I'll just go quickly over the list so you can get an idea of which stocks, which by the way are all going to be large cap stocks. So we have Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Visa, ExxonMobil, Meta, which was used to be called Facebook. We also have MasterCard, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Intel Corporation, Caterpillar, Boeing, M, General Motors, Twitter, Shopify, and Spotify as well. So you can see it's a number of different sectors. Some is going to be in the tech sector, which is going to be heavily influenced obviously by Apple, Microsoft, and Google as well. We're going to have some industry as well, such as like Caterpillar and M as an example, and we'll have some from the aviation industry as well. So plenty of stocks and sectors to choose from. And by the way, with regards to the earnings calendar itself, the one that I like using is the one provided by Market Insider. As you can see, it has a pretty simple user interface, and you can just pretty much, you have all you need right in front of you, which is you can just filter next week's stocks by just clicking on the box right here. And you also have the option to filter either by large cap, mid cap, or small cap as well. And what you can very easily do, for example, if you just click on the large cap ones as an example, you can have this set in one tab, and you can just have Tixee's website on the other one. You can just go to the markets tab at the top, and you can click on the stocks section here, and here you have the list of all the stocks that are available for trading. And you can just do Command F or Control F depending on which kind of computer you're using, and you can just search for the ticker symbol. So for Apple, we search AAPL, for example, and you'll see that it's going to be highlighted at the very top here. For Amazon, you can search for AMZN, and again, it's going to be the same thing. So you can very quickly and easily determine whether a stock is available for trading on Tixee's platform or not. And like we said, for next week, the good thing is there's 18 of them to choose from. So definitely lots of options to trade off of. And just a general reminder with regards, because the things you want to note when it comes to the earnings reports is obviously the timing that the report is going to be released. What I mean by that is whether it's going to be before the market opens, in the pre-market hours, or after the market close. For that, what I like using is actually TradingView site, simply because you can just use it to see at what time more or less. It's not going to be like a specific time that's going to show you, but it's just going to give you an idea of whether it's going to be in the morning hours or in the late night hours. So if you just type in AAPL, which again, this is for Apple stock, and you'd want to switch this, you can keep it on the weekly, but I prefer looking at the daily time frame. And you can see at the bottom here you have this little E icon, which you can basically click on, and it gives you the date itself as well as the release, which for Apple itself is going to be after the market close. Now this is pretty important, because if it's after the market close, then you'd be expecting to see the impacts of the actual report with the very next day. So again, it's like a little thing that's quite crucial to to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, this is with regards to stocks and the earnings calendar. We're gonna move to the economic calendar now, which this one you can find from tixee's website. No need to go to a third-party tool. You can just find it by going to the news and analysis section at the top and then clicking on the economic calendar. Again, it's similar to the earnings one in the sense that you have some filters to choose from. We're gonna switch this to next week, and I'll set this for the high impact events. You can choose the other two as well if you want, depending on which kind of events interest you, but the ones that tend to bring in most volatilities are the ones that are the high impact events. You also want to make note of the time zone right here, because this is directly going to correlate with the timing that you can see on the left hand side here. So starting with Monday, it's gonna be a no China news day, if you want to put it that way. So we have 4 different events coming out of China. We're going to be having unemployment data, GDP data, and industrial production figures, as well as the trade balance figures. All of them are coming in the early morning hours, but again, this is going to be UK time. So depending in which part of the world you're in, this is obviously going to vary. After that, we're going to have production data from Finland, and that pretty much wraps up Monday with the high impact events. Then moving on to Tuesday, we'll be having inflation data from Singapore, followed by employment data from Finland. Then we're going to have production data from Sweden and production data from Spain. And then again, towards the regular EU session, we're going to have unemployment figures from Poland and Germany as well. Then moving on to Wednesday, we're going to have inflation figures from Australia, followed by production data from Brazil, new home sales figures from the US, and then we're going to get to the first interest rate decision, which is going to be from Canada at 3 in the afternoon UK time. Then on Thursday, we're going to be having unemployment data from Norway, followed by consumer confidence figures from Germany, some further employment data from Hungary and Spain, then production figures from South Africa and Greece, followed by unemployment data from Mexico and Brazil. Then we're going to have the second of the 3 interest rate decisions, this one being from the ECB, and then that's going to be followed by GDP data from the US. And then on Friday, we're going to kick off things with unemployment figures from Japan, followed by production data from Australia. We'll then have the interest rate decision from Japan, which is the third and final one for the week. Then towards the regular EU session, we're going to have GDP and inflation, as well as production data, all coming out of France. That's going to be followed by production data from Hungary, some further GDP data from Spain, and again, more production data from the Eurozone, this time from Austria and Italy. And then we're going to have GDP data from Germany, followed by inflation figures from Italy and Belgium, and then we're gonna get the ones from Germany as well. And then towards midday, and basically to finish off the week as well, it's gonna be an all US data part of the day, which is going to be the personal spending figures as well as income figures from the US, and then the total recount towards 6 p.m. Again, this is gonna be UK time. But again, these are all the high impact events. You can of course switch this if you want to the medium one, and the reason you might want to do this is because, let's say if you're trading commodities such as oil prices, then you're going to want to know when the oil inventory report is going to be released. And for this one, you'd have to go onto the medium impact events, and you can see on Wednesday these are the 2 events that you're going to be focusing on in terms of crude oil, or if you're trading other commodities such as gasoline stocks as well. So you can essentially switch between high or impact or medium impact events, or you can keep both of them. You can obviously you can have more than one filter selected. You can have both medium and high impact events. And since we're on the topic of filters, another thing you might want to use is this little tooltip right here, which can give you a pretty good indication as to the volatility you can expect in the hours following the release of a particular event. And this is pretty much with regards to the economic calendar for next week. Next up, we're going to be focusing on cryptos, and we're going to be looking at some of the action from Bitcoin. Now we've been discussing the chart of Bitcoin for the past couple of months, I would say, and we've been pretty much looking at this range right here. Now you can see it hasn't really made any movements yet. So it might be, in my opinion, the best playbook now, essentially just to be patient and see what sort of breakout we're going to be getting, whether to the upside or the downside. Because I'd say it's a little bit riskier to trade within this range because it's super tight. So you'd have to basically scale down maybe to like a 5-minute time frame, where you can potentially see a decent kind of range that you can work off of. Otherwise, if you're trading off of, like, let's say the daily time frame or the weekly even, it's too much of a tight range to work with. So depending on the time frame that you're trading, you can obviously position yourself accordingly. But as you can see, for now it's been respecting this level right here quite substantially, which is around about the 19,000 round number. So again, I mean, the longer the consolidation lasts, what typically tends to happen is the breakout tends to be a bit more violent. So obviously that could play in the hands of volatility traders, because essentially we can expect a much stronger move after we finally break out of this tight range. But until then, in my opinion, the best thing to do is just to stay patient and see what kind of movements or hints the market is going to give us with regards to the movements it makes. But yeah, this is pretty much as far as the outlook for next week's markets. Hope you enjoyed the video and you found it useful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, trade safe.